Okay, here's a couple of racks from 15 ball from January's US Team Billiards matchup. I think these two racks back to back actually perfectly exemplify the frustration and the joy that comes from playing 15 ball. And we'll see why here as we move along. This is my third and fourth racks. My first two were, I got a 8 the first rack. It was kind of a mess, and I kind of took a ball for granted. And you'll see how that comes back to bite me in one of these as well. The next rack, I got a 14 out of 15 because I was in a hurry and I honestly forgot about the 15th ball, and I played shape on the 14th ball, not playing shape to get on the 15th ball, which left me real tough. So that was a problem. After this rack here, I had a bit of a mess. It took me a while to figure out what thing I wanted to go with. And I was actually trying to get in between that 14 and 3, but I hit it a little hesitantly and bumped it. So then I try and get back here again. And I still don't. And as is common with 15 ball is every time you make a shot, if you don't get exactly where you had planned, sometimes you need to take a second to reevaluate where you're at. And instead of trying to take the 8 on the side and going up table, I know I have to deal with these two lines of balls here. And they really just kind of go to that top left corner as we look. So I'm going to use the 6 to get on the 14 and maybe the 3. No, yeah, it's the 3. Because everything really points to that direction. So I have to solve this problem if I'm going to try and get out. So rather than going up table and trying to come back later, I could have gone up table and then used the 7 to get over here, but then that cluster of the 9 and 11 don't really play well with getting from the 7 into that stack. So that was my plan. And then here I'm just relatively straight. I'm going to have to force follow 2 rails around on the 14 and come back out and try and work my way back down there again. My plan was trying to get somewhere decent on the 7. I actually can't see if I clipped the ball. I don't think I clipped the ball, but I did come way too far up table to try and play with the 7 from here. So I said, okay, well, I'll use the 2, then use these balls down here. But as you can see, I took no time and just flubbed the 2. So I get a 5. And I was very frustrated because that means, you know, out of my first 3 racks, I didn't have a lot of good things to show for it. So this is now my last rack of the day. All right, pretty decent break. A little bit of a cluster in the middle, which is kind of what you expect. I'm just trying to take a second to reset. Everything is actually pretty open except for this 14-11 here. Sometimes during practice, even if I land pretty good, I like to try and see if I can run the 15 without taking ball in hand. But this is competition, so definitely take every opportunity or advantage they give you, and having ball in hand after the break is huge. So just being able to move that cue ball a few inches to the left as we look, it's going to help me solve the middle of the table here. So, and as I just said, I had a plan, and then I looked at it, And this is the problem, I think, for 15 ball, is that there are so many options when the table is wide open, is that you kind of get yourself in a little bit of analysis paralysis. And I think in practice, I would have just kept shooting, right? I would have shot the 9 and the 7 and the 8 and the 6 and then, you know, maybe the 13. But like the 9 and 13 for some reason, like got in my head and I couldn't figure out how I wanted to handle that. And like the 7 kind of blocks the pocket for the 2. So I wasn't a huge fan of that. Like it was like 75% clear, if I recall. So it was a pretty full, pretty open pocket. But I'm just kind of like, every time I land in a different position, I reevaluate the whole table as if I just came to the table, which really slows the game down. And it takes a lot of mental energy. So, and here's another situation where I got a little funny on the 11, a little funny on the 6. The 2 doesn't pass the 9. Could have went forward on the 1 and played the 9. But I know, like deep in the back of my brain, my thought was, oh, use the 9 to get on the 7. But I saw this opportunity to take the 11, and I should get down for the 7, as long as I don't. Yeah, that was my fear, is getting hooked on the back of the 9, but now I find myself really straight on the 7, which is not ideal. And I think I hit this ball I try and go a little rail first with some inside to just spin it out, and yeah, I do that. I get fortunate by clipping the 6 as full as I did, because I did not have a plan for after that. I just knew I needed to get out to the middle of the table. If I get out to the middle of the table, I'll have everything else to look at. But thankfully the 6 kind of saved me, because these tables play faster than I'm used to, and I hit that way too hard. So, but now I'm kind of looking at the table fresh again, because I'm dead center, everything goes. I'm just trying to pick what's the path of least resistance. Pretty sure I was playing for the 3 there, but again, table's playing a little faster than I'm used to. So it drew a little more. And then here I'm trying to make an adjustment and I come up light. I'm either light on the 3 or too far for the 12. I don't remember what I was trying to go for. But I'm gonna slice this 3 in, I hope. Ooh, wobble that one in a little bit inside to hold it though, that's okay. And now I'm just gonna have to make a shot. The 4 does go in the lower left. It's not really straight, and I don't like where the cue ball is going. The 12 is real thin, don't like that. So I'm gonna just stop shot on the 8 here. I should slide over for the 2, which should solve the 2-9 problem. Looks like I have enough angle I can go to the rail. Okay, now we're in a pretty standard little 4-ball pattern here. You just kind of, the balls kind of lead to each other, right? The 6 ball is the next big problem. I like this. Yeah, stop here, 4 on the side, 12 in the bottom right. In hindsight, holding holding the angle on the ball on the side was pretty nice. I had thought I wanted to like stun through it a little bit, but I kind of like how I ended up there. And there's a 15 ball run out.